Whiteout is the sister of Darkstalker. She appears heavily in the book Legends Darkstalker. On that note, if you haven't read Legends Darkstalker, this video will have heavy spoilers for that book. Go read it, it's a masterpiece. Anyway, Whiteout is a very popular character, and for good reason. She's very unique. She talks and acts differently than any other dragon in the series. She doesn't get a POV in the series, so everything we know about her comes from Darkstalker and Clearsight. But let's start at the very beginning, the night Darkstalker hatched. As most of you are aware, Darkstalker hatched under 3 moons, giving him very strong mind reading and prophecy. Whiteout was also supposed to hatch that night. Darkstalker considers helping her hatch from her egg, but then ultimately decides not to. Interestingly, Darkstalker sees futures where Whiteout's an animus too, as well as having strong mind reading and prophecy. For any AU writers out there, I think that would be a really good AU. But despite her not hatching under the 3 moons, she is confirmed to have weak mind reading and prophecy. This is very strange in my opinion. Her egg never turned silver, or at least was never shown to. I guess if you're supposed to hatch under full moons and you don't, you just get weaker versions of the powers. So, Whiteout can kind of see the future and kind of read minds. In her own special way, of course. The most interesting thing about Whiteout, in my opinion, is how Darkstalker describes her mind. He says, quote, "Whiteout was one of the only dragons who could surprise him." He also says that sometimes her mind is so quiet he doesn't think she's thinking at all, and then she has some genius observation he would have never thought of. He also says that she thinks more in waves and colors than actual words, which really makes me think she has synesthesia. Which, if you don't know, it's where your senses blend together. You associate words with smells and tastes and colors. It's not outright confirmed in the books. The Wings of Fire wiki does confirm it, and the evidence in the book is there, so it's pretty safe to say it's true. The way Whiteout interacts with other dragons is very interesting. The first times we see her is her walking through a group of Nightwing's marble games and saying, "Oh, I thought the marbles represented chaos theory, and I was just another unpredictable whim of the universe. I did not intend to disrupt your faith in controllable outcomes." When the Nightwings get mad at her for messing up their game. She's obviously brilliant in her own way, but interestingly, she's a year behind Darkstalker in school. Her brilliance is not understood by those around her. I very strongly believe that Whiteout is autistic, or has some form of neurodivergence. She's not socially awkward. Instead, she seems to just act in her own way. Her mind just works differently. When Arctic puts a spell on her just before he's about to take her to the Ice Kingdom, she says that all her words are coming out wrong. The spell in question was to make her talk like other dragons, not love Thoughtful or Darkstalker, want to go to the Ice Kingdom, and marry an Icewing. Because Arctic does not like Whiteout. He likes the idea of her. I should mention I do not have autism and my knowledge is pretty limited, so take all of this with a grain of salt and do your own research. The way that Whiteout talks and interacts with others really does make me think that she's autistic though, which is really cool. On to Whiteout's relationships with other dragons. Whiteout has a strong relationship with Darkstalker, Clearsight, Bowslayer, and Thoughtful. She does not have a strong relationship with Arctic. Whiteout's more of an accessory he gets to show off. He doesn't actually value her. Sorry for all the Arctic slander, but I feel it's necessary. If Whiteout has any other friends, they're not shown to us. Her relationship with Thoughtful is very sweet and interesting. Clearsight says that they were made for each other and that their future contained a great love. Thoughtful is very happy to hear that she recognizes him as the artist of the Cascade of Dreams. They go off to play Scroll Towers together. Very sweet, very wholesome. They also have dragonets together. Every Animus Nightwing is a descendant of Whiteout, including Sunny since her father is the Animus Stone Mover. As I mentioned earlier, Whiteout has prophecy and mind reading. Her weak mind reading never plays a part in the story. I'm guessing she can probably sense emotions like Fate Speaker. That does seem to be the form that weak mind reading takes. But who knows? Her powers are deep inside her, so that could mean a lot of different things. But like I said, her mind reading doesn't really matter. Her prophecy powers, however, are a lot more important. She has quite a few prophecies over the course of the book, actually. The first one that really stood out to me was, "That's alright, he's not gonna snow for a while." I believe this refers to Darkstalker's soul. His soul reader shows white sand for bad and black sand for good, so she's saying he's not going to turn evil for a while. Here's some of her other prophecies with a bit of interpretation. "It's too late. The sand is falling." I believe this refers to Darkstalker going evil. "Only one of us will, depending on who loses the future." I believe this refers to one of them getting to see Foeslayer again. And as we all know, Darkstalker does. So prophecy fulfilled. "Hole is too big. We're going to fall into it forever. Darkstalker getting more evil and the effects it has on others. You're the one that's going into the wild. I think this is about Darkstalker going to meet Fathom for the first time. Tangerine. Probability. Spelunking. I got this list of her prophecies off of the Wings of Fire wiki, and apparently this one's a prophecy. Tangerine refers to the lava on their new home, probability refers to the unpredictability of their home, and spelunking refers to the caves on the island. Honestly, I think this one's kind of a stretch. So, quite a few prophecies. I find them super interesting. Her prophecies are so different than all the other Nightwing prophets. On to Whiteout's personality. She is very peaceful, quiet, and observant. She's very upset every time Arctic and Foeslayer fight in front of her, so she's sensitive too. She is very loving and paints her family looking happy together. Whiteout, our wholesome little painter dragon. It's very interesting how she paints them all in different shades of blue, so they look more like a family. It's also mentioned a few times that Whiteout is a much better painter than Darkstalker, which I find pretty funny. Casual Darkstalker slander in the books. And as a contrast to Darkstalker, who just wants all the Icewings dead, and hates them with a burning passion, Whiteout has a much more hopeful view of things. She has many paintings up in her room of Icewings and Nightwings flying peacefully and happy together in a variety of shades of blue. Just very sweet. She's a sweet, kind, loving, and very interesting dragon. I see why everyone loves her. She has a very special place in my heart. Let me know in the comments, which Wings of Fire character would you like to hear me talk about and why? And on a last little note, remember that you are wonderful no matter how different you are.